Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
Hello, welcome back to the West Ham Massive. Thanks for joining us. If you're new around here, don't forget to click subscribe, and either way, don't forget to click a thumbs up on the video. All these things take a couple of seconds of your time and they help the channel out tremendously, and we always thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. So we are obviously here to discuss the match that took place down on the South Coast yesterday against Southampton. I will just get the presentation. Hang on a minute. It's just bear with me 2 ticks. There you go. All right, it's working now. Okay, that's fine. I'll press these buttons, and there it springs into life. So, just got a few people in the live chat. Chris, hope you are well. Hope you had a good time Christmas with your family. It comes and goes so quick, doesn't it? And you may bow in my presence. You absolutely may. Adrian, hope you're well. We'll get stuck into that. So and that as well, Chris, as well. Yeah, I mean, look, we got the job done. Let's try and look at the positives, and we'll also cover the negatives, and because I think they're probably a little bit easier to deal with. But the positives are, and look, I said it before the match kicked off. I said nothing less than 3 points would be acceptable. And we got the 3 points by hook or by crook. We'll get into that. Keep an eye on the ticker at the bottom. It will change intermittently with various little nuggets of information, as well as this little presentation that I've got running in the background. So that was the starting lineup that Julian Lopetegui went with. Now, I don't know about you guys, and please get your comments in as we go along, and I'll reference them as sort of like when I get opportune moments. So my first thought was, that's a midfield. Rodriguez, I just looked at and shook my head. This is the thing I don't understand. There's all these noises coming out of the club that he's not happy, that we want to try and come to an arrangement mutually where we can rip up his contract and he can possibly go back to Betis. Fine, not a problem. If we're looking to do that, what's the point of playing him? Because if he got injured, then he's not going to want to rip up the contract. If he, for argument's sake, broke his leg, and God forbid that happens, and touch wood it doesn't, but let's just suppose he got a broken leg. Well, he's not going to want to rip his contract up then, is he? On 40 grand a week, and what was it, a 2-year contract, I think it was. He's just not. It's as simple as that. Why would he do that? So I think it was a little bit of a strange move to put him in the starting lineup. I did think that it was going to be possibly a decision that we might rue. We got away with it. We got the 3 points. There was the Southampton 11 and substitutes. A couple of names that stuck out for me. Kyle Walker-Peters, obviously a player that we've been linked with in the past and may well get linked with again in the future. Flynn Downs, who used to be a West Ham player, of course. Paul Onuachu was a player that he played for, and I can't remember if it was Ghent or Genk. I think it was Genk, who we played in the Europa Conference League when we made the run to winning the final. He played in the Ghent team of whatever it was. We played over 2 legs in the quarterfinal, and he was linked with us sort of intermittently. It's a bloody good job that he can't finish, because otherwise we might have been in trouble. But the starting 11, it was probably what we expected, possibly with the exception of Rodriguez, and there may have been a case, as I alluded to in the preview, of possibly starting Kufal at right back and Walker-Peters at left back. But anyway, it was probably largely, other than Rodriguez, the 11 that I expected. So that was that. Now, we came out of the blocks really quickly, and within 30 seconds we had an opportunity, which Carlos Soler got to, and it was played into the box from our right-hand side. There was a bit of a dummy from Fulkrug, who obviously started as a striker yesterday. The ball flew to Carlos Soler. He got his foot to the ball. He diverted it goalwards, and it hit the crossbar. I think really it should have been a goal. And who knows, maybe if it had been Soler doing the dummy and Fulkrug on the end of it, maybe it would have been. But it is what it is. You know, we sort of went from there. And I thought, actually, the opening 5 minutes, I thought we started quite well. Unfortunately, I think that the rest of that first half was a really tough watch. In fact, if I'm being brutally honest, the whole of the match was a pretty tough watch. If you're a West Ham fan, I thought, here's the thing, right? I know a lot of people are probably going to say that one of our best players this season has been Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and they'd be right in saying that. But I do think that he did get led a merry dance yesterday by Kyle Walker-Peters, it has to be said. And there was a couple of times I thought he switched off. If you go back and watch that game again, and I watched it, we did a watch along yesterday, my brother and I, and he made the observation that, and I was watching and I thought, you know what, I think he's got a point here, is he just has this little tendency to think that the ball's going dead when it's not. There was a cross that was played in the first half that it looked like it was going out of play, and then sort of like, but he kind of switched off to it, and the ball wasn't it didn't go out of play, and the ball was recycled, and we got away with it. And my brother turned around and said that that's the reason basically why he never made it at Man United, because he's not a top level footballer. And it's probably why he'll come to a club like us, and he'll probably do all right, and he has done all right. But I just think that, yeah, there are little moments, and as I say, he was getting beat quite readily by Kyle Walker-Peters. And bear in mind, Kyle Walker-Peters is right-footed, playing on the left. And as I say, I thought he led Aaron Wan-Bissaka a merry dance through the course of that first half and the second half as well. I thought Sugawara as well on the right. He was a real handful. Emerson struggled to cope with him. From wide, a lot of their attacks was coming, and we struggled. Fabianski, 39 years of age, made an absolute worldie of a save in the first half. And then Nathan Wood and he collided shortly thereafter. They didn't show it again as a replay, so I don't really know what exactly happened. I'm led to believe it was a clash of heads, and he was down for quite some time. Prior to this, we'd actually lost a player as well due to injury, and Max Kilman. Now, that was a weird one for me. I don't know about you guys. I sort of, unless it was a dislocated shoulder, I was like, well, what the hell's going on? He's injured his shoulder, for God's sake. You're a centre-back. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit old school. Maybe I'm a little bit of an old dinosaur, but I sort of I look back and I think, if that had been Billy Bonds, if that had been Alvin Martin, if that had been a centre-back of that sort of vintage, hurt shoulder, would they have gone off? And I think the answer to that is a resounding hell no. But as I say, I don't know the full ins and outs of what that injury was, but it certainly didn't look like it was a dislocated shoulder. He got, he got a bit of treatment. He tried to carry on, and then he had to get substituted, and Todibo came on. Now, obviously, he's a player again that I sort of haven't been overly impressed with, and he's alongside another player who I have some real grave doubts about as being a first-line centre-back in the Premier League week on week in Konstantinos Mavropanos. But we saw out the first half, obviously, with the injury to Fabianski. On comes Areola. And bear in mind that I'm led to believe, I'm led to understand that after the treatment, he did actually come and he did actually watch the game in the second half. He actually watched it from the dugout, apparently. I haven't seen any footage that corroborates that, but that's the information I have, is that he did watch the second half from the dugout, apparently. But be that as it may, from what I'm told, because that was a concussion substitution, so it didn't actually count as one of our 5 official substitutes, because it was a concussion substitution. We got that as an extra 1. Because in case anybody sort of like wasn't sure and was counting, we did make 6 substitutions yesterday. But because, as I say, Fab was a concussion substitute, that counted as extra. So not a problem. But because it's a concussion, he, by all the rules and regulations, he's got to sit out for 10 days. So he will miss the game against Liverpool on Sunday, and he will miss the subsequent fixture against Manchester City. Obviously, Areola came on. I don't think he did too bad, but to be honest with you, I think that probably if you watched the game and you watched Southampton, you probably realise quite quickly why they're in the position they're in. They their approach play, I thought, was good. I thought they got the ball from back to front effectively when they had possession. The problem is that as when it comes to the final third, they just can't finish the opportunities that they carve out. Armstrong, Premier League striker, he's not good enough. Championship, he's decent. Premier League's just a level too much for him. Paul Onuachu, he really did bully the 2 centre-backs more often than not. Whether it was Kilman, whether it was Mavropanos, whether it was Todibo, physically, I thought he had the measure of them. But unfortunately, his finishing was woeful, absolutely woeful. It would go wide, or it'd be a weak sort of attempt, and Fabianski or Areola would be able to sort of conjure up, in the main. That save from Fabianski, though, was a worldie, I've got to say. But in terms of the opportunities that Southampton created, I don't think they made enough of them. And that is the reason why they're going to go down. And they will go down, I'm sorry to say. This new manager bounce, we obviously had to face it. And it's difficult to know in what the new manager will be. Will he be a success? Will he be a failure? I think as far as keeping them in the Premier League is concerned, he will be a failure. That's not a reflection on him. Probably that horse has already bolted before he walked through the door. But it's difficult to know what he's going to bring to the party. Is he going to improve them in some respects? Maybe. Possibly. But we got to the half-time interval. As I say, that save from Fabianski, but then the injury to him, the prior injury to Kilman. We then come out second half, and there's a substitution made as the teams are coming out, where SOUWHU was withdrawn and replaced with Alvarez. Now, at the time, I did sort of scratch my head and ponder about that, because I looked at the central midfield composition, Rodriguez, Alvarez, Souček, and just thought that is completely devoid of any creative element. Completely just not there. Did he have any other options? Well, I think he did. I mean, Andy Irving was on the bench, wasn't he? Now, we don't know. Is he good enough? Is he up to Premier League level? Well, quite simply, we don't know, because he's not really given any opportunity. He had a go in pre-season, and he did quite well when he was given the opportunities. Apparently, Celtic were in for him, and he was talked into staying by Julien Lopetegui. I bet he wishes he hasn't bothered now, because I think he's played sort of like about, 40, 50, 60 minutes, something like that, in league football this season. A paltry amount. I think he probably will be off, at least, possibly in January, at least in the summer. I'm here that Celtic are still interested. He could have been an option. Who knows? But obviously, Alvarez came on, and I did think that was probably going to cause problems in the midfield area, and I do think we saw that. I thought Souček was quite poor, quite honestly. And my brother was on a voice. We had a couple of voice notes going back and forth, and I think he made the point that really and truly, I love Thomas Souček. His commitment is there for all to see, but really and truly, unless he scores or he does tend to sort of stand out like a sore thumb. You can sort of see his deficiencies. They're there for all to see. But anyway, so we get into the second half with that composition of the midfield. So we've now made 3 substitutions. One of them's a concussion substitution and 2 normal substitutions, if you will. But all 3 of them have been as a result of an injury, because it came out later that Carlos Soler, apparently he had a knee injury going into this game, and he, from what I'm told, he aggravated it during the course of the first half. Don't know. Was it when he took that shot after 30 seconds that rattled off the crossbar? Who knows? But he obviously aggravated something, and it was Alvarez that came in to replace him. Now, it was very huff and puff for the, like I say, I do think that from wide we were getting beaten quite sort of readily. I think, like I say, Emerson, I think, was getting taken to the cleaners by Sugawara in the main. I do think that Walker Peters was leading Wan-Bissaka a merry dance, in my opinion. 59 minutes gone, though. We obviously get the breakthrough. Jarrod Bowen getting on the end of a flick on that was from Fulkrug. That would have hopefully done his confidence the world of good, that he's played a part and that he's got an assist to his name. I actually don't think he played as badly as people make out that he did. Look, I think as far as the service is concerned that we gave to him, I think any striker's going to look poor off of the back of it. I don't, and I'm going to say this: I'm getting a little bit frustrated with Mohamed Kudus. I really am. His performances, I do wonder whether he's had enough. I do wonder if he's just sort of kind of not down tools, but whether there's just a little bit of a lack of intensity from him. He doesn't look right. And I'm not having it that it's all to do with him being played on the left. You're a professional footballer, and if you're as good as your people say you are, you will adapt. But the goal Jarrod Bowen gets, it's as it says there on the bottom of the ticker as it going along, I'll just point it out. It was his 48th Premier League goal for West Ham United. He is now stands alone in the goal scoring list of Premier League goal scorers for the club, in outright second, with only Michail Antonio ahead of him, 20 goals. And I do expect at some point he will overtake Michail Antonio. I do hope that Michail Antonio returns. I do hope that he adds to that goal scoring tally. But I do believe that Jarrod Bowen one day will overtake whatever Michail Antonio ends up on. And Jarrod Bowen will, I hope, touch wood, I'm saying this, become our all-time Premier League record goal scorer. It was also, as it says on that ticker as well, his 100th league goal in English football. He's obviously performed down the pyramid for Hull City and Hereford, amongst others. So it was a significant goal in the career of Jarrod Bowen, and possibly a significant goal in the career of Julen Lopetegui, because I think if we don't get that goal and we scrap and scrape and get a 0-0 against the team that statistically are the worst in the Premier League so far this season, I don't think that reflects well on the head coach. I really don't. But here's the interesting thing, and just looking there at that little thing, we're in 13th place. We're only separated from Spurs and Man United, I think it is, on goal difference. Quite incredible. Now, are we having a crap season? Yeah, we are, but so are they. And you never know. I mean, sort of like if we can put a little bit of a mini run together, who knows what can happen. But we've got two of the worst teams that you'd want to really face coming up soon. We've obviously got Liverpool at London Stadium on Sunday, and we've got Manchester City at the Etihad. Mind you, Manchester City, it has to be said, they're not exactly pulling up any trees, but obviously we know as West Ham fans, when there's a team that's on a bad run, or a player that hasn't scored for however long, we turn up and it's like, please come through, have some of that. And it will probably be that we get an absolute shoeing. But as I say, the remainder of the second half, I think we huffed. I think we puffed. I don't think we really did too much. When you look at the statistics, and you've obviously seen them on that presentation as it's been ticking along, what the statistics were in terms of shots, in terms of shots on target. And I've got to be honest with you, just off the top of my head, I don't really remember Aaron Ramsdale having a save to make. Okay, he got beat by obviously Jarrod Bowen. Yes, fine, no problem. But did we force him to make any sort of top quality saves? Did we make him really sort of earn his corn at the end of the day? I don't think we did. But as I say, if we put aside the performance and we just focus on the result, which I think in our situation probably to a degree we need to, we got the job done. We got the job done. it could have been awkward. As I say, you're never quite sure. Away from home, new manager bounce. Is it going to be Leicester all over again? And bear in mind, we battered Leicester. Let's not forget, absolutely battered Leicester, but didn't get the 3 points. We got done 3-1. And I was a little bit concerned that it could be the same again. So you compare and contrast those two outcomes against two teams at the wrong end of the table, struggling away from home and have just got a new manager. We battered Leicester. Good performance. If you take away the result, if you just look at the performance, you'd say a good performance, just couldn't finish, put the ball in the back of the net often enough. And obviously we lost 3-1. Yesterday, performance, absolutely piss poor. I'm not going to lie, but we got the 3 points. What outcome would you prefer? Now, okay, you could probably sit there and say the outcome I prefer is we have a brilliant performance and the win. Yeah, that's fine. But they're not mutually exclusive. And sometimes you've got to make a choice. And we shithoused the 1-0 win away from home, as I say, against a team that had a new manager in the dugout. And you're never quite sure how that's going to pan out. But as I say, if we now include the performance, as I say, if you just look at the result and say we need the 3 points because obviously we've got two tough games that are coming up where we probably are going to be on the wrong end of it. We're probably not expecting too much. So to get the 3 points here in that game yesterday was absolutely imperative. We did it. So that's fine. No problem. It probably buys Lopetegui a bit more time because I think realistically, I don't think that that the hierarchy are going to judge Lopetegui on the outcome of the Liverpool game and the Manchester City game. It will probably be thereafter. I think it's Fulham we play after that. And that will probably be when there'll be a little bit of a spotlight put on the head coach. But you look there, as I say, there we are in 13th. We've got 23 points. There we are. -7 goal difference. And Thomas Frank, a manager that everybody sort of like says that we should have got in this, that, and the other. Well, his team are on the same amount of points as us. Tottenham, they're on the same amount of points as us. Okay, superior goal difference, not a problem. That's fine. But this was always going to be a transitional season. I'm playing devil's advocate here, guys. I am playing devil's advocate. Is it as bad as all that? Yes, I agree. The performance was crap. But when you sort of bear in mind what we was up against yesterday, a lot of the things we've had of late, Lopetegui with the situation with his dad, Michail Antonio, Oscar Fares, a lot of things that the club has had to deal with. Is it maybe as bad as we think it is? I don't know. As I say, I don't know. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they don't deserve it. Maybe they don't deserve it. But yeah, it's Aston Villa's the next fixture after that. That's obviously in the FA Cup. We've got a game at home against Liverpool, as it says there, on the 29th. We then go away to Manchester City on the 4th of Jan, and then FA Cup game on Friday the 10th of Jan. How's that going to pan out? I tell you what, Villa have gone right off the boil as well. You look, actually, I do wonder. I look at the game, all right, they're away. That's probably a little bit of a negative. But against Manchester City, they're not in great form. Away at Aston Villa, they're not in great form either. About a month or two ago, I'd have probably looked at those fixtures and said, we don't have a cat in hell's chance. But now I'm looking at those fixtures and I am asking the question, could we possibly spring a surprise? There could well be, in one of those two games, maybe, a little bit of a shock incoming. Maybe. Or have I had a little bit too much of the old Christmas sherry? That is entirely possible. But I'm just putting it out there, guys. As I say, a month ago, I think you look at those fixtures and you write them off. You probably look at them and still feel that we probably are going to be the underdogs going into both of those fixtures. But I do feel that things have slightly turned a little bit in terms of, getting certain results. We're unbeaten. Let's look on the bright side. We're unbeaten in 4. We've got a clean sheet in 2 of those, I think. Was it 2 of those? Anyway, we got a clean sheet yesterday. You can see that there. It's quite clear. But I'm going to get rid of that. I'm trying to look on the bright side, guys. As I say, it's that time of year, peace on earth, goodwill to all men. I'm trying to look on the bright side, and I'm trying to look for positives. As I say, there wasn't too many that I saw on the pitch yesterday. I thought we was poor. Probably the only positive, and I'm going to reference it, was obviously the overturning by VAR of the Rodriguez yellow card. That was a nice little Christmas present, I suppose. It did look a harsh decision from the on-field ref, but again, having refereed football myself, not at a Premier League level, of course, but I do understand that sometimes the game work goes quite fast. There's people in the way. Maybe the angle you stood at is not the best. Whatever. You've got a split second to make a decision, and sometimes you get the decision wrong. The benefit of VAR is you can obviously look at it again and make a more considered decision. Thankfully, the referee went over and had a look. He was asked by the VAR, which was Stuart Atwell, to go and have a look at the pitch side monitor. And obviously, he then looked at it and made what was, I think, by common consensus, the correct call. I think Guido Rodriguez, whatever his limitations, he slipped. That wasn't a red card. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. And obviously, the red card was rescinded and overturned to a yellow. But having said that, that then means, because Guido Rodriguez, don't forget, was on 4 yellow cards going into that fixture. That was there for his 5th. He misses the game against Liverpool. Soucek also was on 4 yellow cards. He got a yellow during the course of yesterday's game. He will also miss the game against Liverpool. So when you stand back and analyse it, going into the game against Liverpool could be quite tricky. They're a team that's at top. They're 7 points clear of the team in second place, and they have a game in hand. So they win that, they're 10 points clear, right? We're playing them next. Our results have improved, but would you say our performances on the pitch have? Debatable. We're going into that game with our what you would arguably say is our first choice goalkeeper in Lukasz Fabianski. He won't be involved because, as I say, concussion rules are he has to be out for 10 days. So he will miss the game against Liverpool. So Areola will, unless he gets an injury, and God forbid he does, because otherwise it's clean sheet Wes that's coming in, ladies and gentlemen, League One Wes, that would be coming in between the sticks against Liverpool. But I think it will probably be Areola. We'll obviously cover this when we do the Liverpool review, but just sort of going through it and just looking at surveying the damage that's been done, because there is some damage that's been done in the Southampton game. Let's not lie. We've got Kilman, who's possibly going to be out. Obviously, this shoulder problem. As I say, I still sort of look at that and think you're a big, tough centre half, that you should be better than that coming, unless it's a dislocated shoulder, mate. Just get on with it. But he may well be out of the game against Liverpool. Soucek, obviously suspended, 5th yellow card yesterday. Rodriguez suspended yesterday, 5th yellow card. Is that a miss? Well, it'd be handy to have him from the bench, wouldn't it, as an option? So he won't be available at all. So I would say, yes, that is a loss, really and truly. Then you've also got... who are we missing? So, and it's Carlos Soler. Carlos Soler, obviously, knee injury. He may well be missing for the Liverpool game. So that's 5 players in Fabianski, Kilman, Soler, Soucek, and Rodriguez, who are either definitely out, 3 definitely out in the case of Rodriguez, Soucek, and Fabianski. They're definitely out. As far as the debatable ones, you're looking, obviously, at Soler with a knee injury and Kilman with a shoulder injury. The good news is, if you think it's good news, that's a matter of debate. But I suppose we got to take it as positive news, I suppose, given that we've obviously got a few players that are going to be out in that division, is Lucas Paqueta will be back. So that's a bit of good news. But as far as the game yesterday is concerned, that's pretty much it, really. As I say, there's a little bit of fallout with the injury situation and all the rest of it. So, yeah, my thoughts are poor performance, but as far as the outcome was concerned, it's the outcome that we needed. 3 points and nothing less would do. Okay, that's me getting on. So I'm now going to have a little look at the comment section and just see who's in there. And sorry that I've been whittering on. Let's see what you've jumped in with. Tony, hope you are well. Hope you had a good Christmas as well. And thank you very much. That is much appreciated. Ricky, hope you're well and hope you had a good Christmas. I don't think just West Ham got the starting 11 wrong. I think Southampton also got their starting 11 wrong. They got a lot wrong, mate. In the final third, they got an awful lot wrong. If they'd have had their shooting boots on, I think we might have been in trouble. But that probably tells you why they're where they are. We probably will, Chris. And as I say, we've got 3 confirmed absentees in Fabianski, Soucek, and Rodriguez. And we've also got 2 players off of the back of yesterday who are going to be quite serious doubts. And that's obviously Kilman and Soler. But we will have Paqueta back. But as I say, this is something that I'm worried about. As I say, I do think the discipline is really now starting to cost us. It really is. Can't underestimate how Soucek and Fulkrug are affected. Sorry, let me start again. Do apologise, William. Blame the Christmas sherry. Merry Christmas to you as well, by the way. Can't underestimate how effective Soucek and Fulkrug are with their heads in the box. The goal showed that. Yes, that is true. As I say, and I'm pleased that Fulkrug got the assist. Soucek had an impact in the goal. You are correct. I think outside of that, I think he was quite poor in his performance. But as I say, unless he gets a goal or he's agreed with an assist, Soucek looks quite ineffective anyway. He's not Kevin De Bruyne, is he? Colin, hope you had a good Christmas, mate. He says, we're a poor team and we should be much better than Southampton, but we're definitely not. And on that performance, I can see us getting trounced by Liverpool. I can only see a loss. 100% agree with you, mate. As I say, we didn't perform well. We got the result that we needed, the result that was there for the taking. I think, if we'd have come away, and I said before a ball was kicked, I said that nothing less than a win would do. And we obviously did get that win. So I can't, having got that win, sit here and complain about it. I suppose it would be quite unfair of me. But yeah, as a performance, it was poor. I think that Liverpool would have probably been massive favourites against us anyway. The fact that we've got 3 confirmed absentees and then another 2 that are possible going to be absent as well off of the back of this fixture, I think puts even more of the emphasis on Liverpool. I can see it probably, best case scenario, probably a 3-goal margin, and I hope I'm wrong. But I do think that if we play like we did yesterday, we're getting absolutely annihilated. They could easily have been, Tony, easily 2-0 up, easy by half-time. If they had a striker, they'd have beaten us yesterday. But then again, I suppose that again is the reason why they're where they are. They've not scored enough goals. That's the reason they're why they are. That's the reason they're going back down to the Championship. And it's a shame for the Southampton fans, but it is what it is. Sorry to hear that, Colin. Hope that is going to improve in the new year for you. Just having a little look. Tony agrees with me. Yeah, Kudus' attitude stinks. Half-hearted performance and thinking that scoring goals helps. Didn't even celebrate that. Fair enough. You don't like the manager, but West Ham pay your wages, not Lopetegui. Yeah, I think he's, as I say, I'm not going to say that he's down tools, but I just think if you look, I think you look at his body language, I just think it doesn't look right to me. It looks like he's kind of, his mind's elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? He's not really at full tilt for me. And I just think that possibly his head's turned. Possibly he knows that something's going to happen in January or at least the summer. And look, if we can get a half decent amount of money in for him in January and we can line up ready replacements that are going to adequately come in and do the job, then I'd move him on. If someone's not happy here, then just get what you can and get him out the door. And Fulkrug might not particularly had a bad game, but still feel he needs to go. Just not good enough. Kudus, I actually feel wants out. Feel he's had his head turned. There you go. Exactly that. Peter, hope you had a good Christmas. I thought the referee was fairly brave in turning the red card around. Well done to him. Thing is, though, Peter, I think that when you're confronted by the irrefutable evidence, and I don't blame him necessarily in and of itself for giving the red. I think that, like I say, it happened in real time, and probably he thought in his heart of hearts that it was the correct call. Obviously, Stuart Atwell said, I think you might want to have a look at that, mate. And he's gone across, he's had a look, and he's made the correct call. So fair play to him. You're right. Willing to give Fulkrug more time, says Trudge, as he isn't fit and still got the assist. The only thing he did. Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, if you as a striker can contribute with a goal or an assist for one of your colleagues, then you've probably done your job. I do think that the service we gave him was poor. I did think that sometimes he was forced into dropping deep to try and sort of make something happen. But yeah, I'm willing to give him a little bit more time. But again, same with him. If he doesn't want to be here, Trodge, then maybe see what you can get for him in January and move him on. And hope you had a Merry Christmas, mate. Trodge says, been saying drop Paquette and Kudus for 6 months. Yeah, I mean, maybe not for as long as that, but certainly for maybe about the last 2 months, certainly in the case of Paquette, I've been questioning whether he should be starting. And Kudus now I'm really starting to look at and think that maybe he needs to sort of sort his head out or just go. Simple as that. And Colin saying good afternoon to everyone in the chat. Damien, hope you well. Hope you had a good Christmas. Centre forward and left-footed box-to-box midfielder in January, please. I think for me, and those of you that saw my little bit that I did the other day, I think would know that my priority is a midfielder. Unless, of course, we move either Fulkrug or Kudus on, and then I think possibly a striker might go to be the more priority thing. Convenient Nolan injuries for New Year's game. Yeah, I remember those, mate. I remember those. We are boring to watch, and Southampton bossed last part. They did, as I say. It's just that they don't have anyone at the end of their moves to finish it off, and that's the reason they're going straight back down to the Championship. So let me have a look. You can take off the centre suit now early. Yep, please do, Tony. Please do. No need to keep that on. If yesterday was the last game of the season, who would win your Hammer of the Year? Do you know what? My brother and I were discussing this on the watch along that we did. It is a tough one. You'd probably say the people that are in the shake up, I think, are probably Bowen, Kilman, Wan-Bissaka, and probably Fabianski. And that probably tells you what you need to know, doesn't it? That a 39-year-old goalkeeper potentially is in the shake-up to be your best player. Says it all. Says it all for me. I think Bowen probably is the one that would probably win it as of right now. But they're the four that I think would be in contention. Bowen, Wan-Bissaka, Kilman, and Fabianski. Damien says, Soucek hasn't been good for the past couple of games. Alvarez is the most complete midfielder in that side. Should be building around him and finding him a partner. Do you know what? I think he's been found out, Damien. I disagree. I don't think he's been all that this season. I really don't. It's a game of opinions at the end of the day, and you clearly have a different point of view on it. And maybe you're right and maybe I'm wrong, but I do think that he has been quite ineffective this season. I really do. Ricky, yes. Yeah, I think Fab would run him a very close second on the form he's been with in recent times. Trodge makes the point that he's Alvarez is the most complete midfielder apart from that he can't sprint. I do think he's been found out. Runs like a pregnant hippo. Very good. Trodge comes in and says, Andy Diouf or Cy Williams and Deng would be just as well. I don't know. I'm not familiar with those players, Damien. You'll have to forgive me. And then he comes in and says he's not saying he's Yaya Toure, but he has presence, is good technically and defensively sound. The only problem is, Damien, he does pick up a lot of cards, mate. He's had more cards than Clinton's this year. So yeah, they're just having a little chat, Trodge and Damien, just about the attributes of Mr. Alvarez, Senor Alvarez. Ricky asked, do you guys think we'll make a loan signing from a Premier League team in January? If so, who? I don't know, mate. I don't really know what's available. We'll probably get someone little bit of damaged goods. Do you know what? I'm going to say it, and I don't think this would ever work as a permanent signing. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I do wonder whether Rashford, as a sort of a striker option, he needs a new team. He needs a new challenge. I think that's fairly clear. We need a forward option, with both Fulkrug and Kudus making noises that they want to move on to pastures new. And okay, maybe it wouldn't be that we could afford him on a permanent thing, and maybe he wouldn't want it. But as a 6-month option, it worked with Lingard. Okay, then didn't work with the other fella, what's his fucking name? Oh, Calvin Phillips. My brain went there. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, who is it? Calvin Phillips, it obviously didn't work for. So, but I don't know. Rashford, maybe. Who else? I'm trying to think of anyone that could. I don't know. I don't know. I'd probably have to go away and think about it, specifically a loan signing. Don't mind keeping Fulkrug if he's willing to be the number 2. I don't think he would, mate. I really think that he would get his nose completely put out of joint. I think he came in believing and probably was told that he would be the striker for the season. I wouldn't be loaning him out with an obligation to buy, says Damien. Walker Reed left his business card with Lopetegui in that performance yesterday. Kufal replacement. Yeah, I think he could. I'd be very interested in him, mate. I can't lie. I did think it was a bit strange that we was targeting him in the summer and then we moved to get Wan-Bissaka, who, although he's a good player and has his attributes, he's stylistically a different player than Walker-Peters. Our timing is awful. Could have sold these players for a lot last season. Absolutely. Wish we got Morgan, Gibbs, White and Milenkovic at Forest. Yeah, they're doing well there, mate. They're doing well. They're having a great season. Yesterday showed how weak we were in the air. Yeah, as I say, Onuachu absolutely bullied our back line, and the only reason why he didn't capitalise and that Southampton didn't do anything is, quite frankly, that his finishing was absolutely atrocious. I feel like a lot of these discipline issues come from how badly we've been playing. My brother made an observation, and I don't know whether it's something you guys might sort of pick up on, but he turned around and said that a lot of the times sort of he feels that players are not showing for the ball and people are getting frustrated, and sometimes with the centre-backs, they're having to carry the ball into midfield. They're getting robbed, and then they're having to make silly challenges or whatever. I don't know. Stephen, hope you well. Hope you had a good Christmas. I will be 61 soon and have given up watching now. Dross on this bloke. Oh, Steve, I'm really sorry to hear that, mate. That's not good. I mean, if that gets you and I dare say you've seen some real crap down the years, same as I have, you know. And we all probably thought Moyes was about as bad as it could get, and then we get this obviously the manager that we all thought was probably going to be an improvement on David Moyes, and I don't think he's been an upgrade on him. I really don't. I accept that there's transition. I accept that there's a style change that is going to take a lot of people in the squad a bit of time, and there's been, you know, there's a lot of it I think is down to the manager. You know, he's fell out with a lot of players. He's fell out with the technical director. He's fell out with this person, that person, the other person. There's a lot of people that want to leave. It's all a little bit, I don't know, mate. It's all a little bit sort of farcical, to be honest with you. But anyway, listen, I'm going to disappear. This is basically part of my lunch break. I am actually working today, believe it or not, but I've taken this as my lunch break. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to disappear. Before you all decamp, please don't forget to drop a like on the stream and hit subscribe if you are new around here. Maybe even don't even consider sort of sharing this onto your social media platforms and letting a few of your friends know that we're here and recommending us in that way. So we're at 1,425 subscribers last time I looked. So yeah, we're moving in the right direction. And as I say, remember guys, all these things you can do, subscribing, sharing, liking, and all these things, they help grow the channel. They don't cost you a copper coin. They take a couple of seconds of your time. So what's not to like? Anyway, thanks for joining us. And don't forget as well, if you can, in this season of goodwill, to give your support to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. We'll see you again for the Liverpool preview, where I'm expecting to get a bit of a shoeing, but maybe in a day's time I'll reconsider, and maybe I'll think that we can beat them 3-0. Where's the sherry? Anyway, look after yourselves, guys. Come on, you Irons, and we'll see you next time.
Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham.